Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. So for all you Audie fans, he is sleeping on his cat bed in the front window because it was a nice sunny day today. And when he gets in that front window, the front window faces south. So he gets the most sun from that window until it gets like late in the afternoon. Then sometimes he switches over to the other side, so he gets the afternoon sun coming in from the west window. Or if the neighbors have an unusual amount of snow in their yard and he has none in his, then he's right over in that west window, keeping an eye on their snow, which he knows they've stolen from us. So, hey, gotta watch those neighbors. Yellow. Yellow is in the scarf, and this was a gift from Colleen, and I'm not sure if I have it folded in a way so that you can see all the yellow, but there's really a lot of yellow in this, and also the earrings. And the yellow is for Catherine, it's for Lex's mom, it's for everyone dealing with cancer. We are sending you our very best wishes. Really, we are. Oh, another word about the scarf. I should probably say, I like this because if I look in my wardrobe, like half of the stuff I have goes really beautifully with this. And the other half of the stuff I have, who knows what it goes with. All right, we will be back after the intro and get started. Well, I wanted to follow up on what we talked about yesterday, trying to get our heads around the concept of organizing, downsizing, decluttering, whatever it is you want to do to modify your environment to better meet your needs at this time. And I think that a lot of us have trouble with just wrapping our heads around it. It's like, we know we got to do it, but somehow we know we got to do it and we actually start doing it. This is a gap that could be measured in light years. It's like, how do we get from here to there? So I thought we would quickly go back to something that I don't remember the last time I spoke about this. I think it's been at least 2 years, but regardless, I think it's about time we looked at it again. And that is the SMART system of goal setting. So, and it's easy because we've got that built-in mnemonic of SMART. And of course, we do want our goal setting to be SMART. So in this case, SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and then this one, the final one, which is time sensitive. Now, you'll find this, I did not make this up. This is not mine. This has been floating around since, oh gosh, probably the 80s. I think that's the first time I encountered it, was back in the 80s. But it came out of that whole I'm okay, you're okay mentality that we had going on. That mentality started in the 70s, moved through the 80s, just we're going to find ways to fix ourselves. And that's where this came out. Everybody had a news system, and this was just going to change your life. And no, they're not life changers. They are tools. And I think, and I base this largely on the comments you left for yesterday's videos, I think some of us are probably feeling a lack of those tools right now. We know it would be a good idea to do something. And, here we are at the beginning of March. Spring is upon us. And we want to start doing spring cleaning. And, our minds are out of that winter cocoon. And we're thinking a little more outside of our own private box. And starting to think, yeah, let's do something. Let's do spring cleaning. Let's do some organizing. Or in many cases, we're looking at this saying, yeah, I should have done this a long time ago. And it is like this giant cloud hanging over my head. Every morning I get up and I know I should do this, but I'm not doing it. That is its own problem, by the way. When things become so overwhelming, and the example I used on this last time we spoke about this was like a little kid cleaning the toys off their bedroom floor. Half the time they'll just sit in the middle of the floor and cry. Because even though we look around, we see 24 toys on the floor, and they need to be picked up and put in the toy box, and that's all there is to it. And if we were going to do this for the child, instead of teaching the child how to do this, it would take us like a minute and a half. But for the child, it's overwhelming because, of course, they're children. Their little universe is so much smaller that 24 toys on the floor is an absolute, just a disaster. It's like a bomb went off in their room. So we need, even as adults, because we're not children, we need to be mindful of not putting ourselves in the same situation. And it was a comment from Dutch Joan, by the way, that led me on this little sort of digression, because she mentioned that she just gets so worn out making these to-do lists. And that relates to what we talked about yesterday about not letting the process become the goal. It's like you need to keep in mind why you are doing this so that you don't start cleaning just for the sake of cleaning. And not that I'm saying cleaning for the sake of cleaning is not good. If that turns you on, hey, more power to you, and then come to my house when you're done with yours. But having a goal, having a sense of what you're working for, what is your reward? Because it's nice to have a reward at the end of the day. And I think that's part of where our lack of tools come in. So let's just take a look at SMART goal setting. Our goals should be specific. It shouldn't be something vague like, I'd like to clean my house. It's probably a lot more specific if you'd say, oh, I want to change the world for the better and I'll start by cleaning my house. Yeah, it does seem like a smaller piece of that big pie. But if what your concern is, if at the end of the day, what you want is a cleaner, neater, tidier, more organized living space that doesn't require as much effort on the upkeep end, then we need to be a lot more specific, because that is a big reward, and we need to set our goals accordingly. So, I need to clean my house? No. That's like right up there with the big reward. We need to break it down into smaller segments. So, things like, I would like to spend 20 minutes every day tackling a messy area of my house, and I would like to start with my bathroom countertop. That is a specific goal. Okay? So, we've covered the S. Measurable. Absolutely. A measurable goal is something that you can actually see some progress. So, something like, for example, I would like to get healthier, which is a laudable goal, is not really very specific or measurable. If you say, I would like to reduce my A1C level, that's specific and measurable. I would like to lose 5 pounds. That is specific and measurable. I would like to reduce my caffeine intake by 50%. Specific and measurable. And the end result is, if you do all these things, of course you're going to improve your health. But that's why we need to break it down into smaller, bite-sized chunks. The old joke, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how you solve any problem. One bite at a time. So a goal like cleaning the bathroom counter is specific. It's measurable. And that brings us to A, which is achievable. Is it achievable? Of course it is. I want to clean my bathroom counter tomorrow is very achievable. Cleaning off your bathroom counter is not a job that should take more than a day, no matter how large your bathroom is or how messy that countertop is. It should be able to be done in a day. Now, obviously, there are people with physical limitations that might make that difficult, but would I classify that as an achievable goal within the time frame? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, specific, measurable, achievable, and then relevant. And relevant, it has to be a relatable goal. You have to be able to look at this and say, this has some value to me. So, if, for example, you buy the same things at the grocery store week in and week out without very much change, and you say, I am going to save money on my grocery bill by clipping coupons, it's probably not going to hit that relevant mark. Because unless you find coupons for the same things that you buy, you'll be spinning your wheels, basically. You will be gathering up coupons and you won't be able to exchange them for anything because you already know what you like, what you buy. You buy certain fixed things. So, and that, by the way, that's not the best example, but that's just the one that comes to me at the moment. Something that makes it possible for us to understand that we have to connect with what we are doing. Malcolm Knowles is an adult education theorist. Yeah, I know. I'm sure you were waiting for me to drag some of the academia into it. He said adults learn by doing. And if you're going to teach an adult something, this is the foundation of his educational theory, it needs to be useful to them. So, if you are going to teach an adult to speak French, it has to be because they are living in a French-speaking country or moving to a French-speaking country, because otherwise, it's not going to be of value to them. So, and it's a good theory. It really is, especially considering the fact that Knowles was primarily focused on looking at adult basic education. If you are going to teach an adult something, let it be something that will get them a promotion at work. Let it be something that will give them a battery of skills they can use around their house or in their community. For example, public speaking, if they want to join the Rotary Club, that sort of thing. You have to be able to connect with it. So for me, the relevance is kind of old hat, because that was my specific field when I was in the study of education. My focus was primarily adult education, because usually adults don't cry or wet their pants. Just nothing against kids, but I'd rather be with people who have dry eyes and dry pants. Personal preference, that's all. So it needs to be relevant. You have to be able to connect to it. You have to want it. It has to be something you believe will improve your circumstances in some way. And it has to be time sensitive. You have to be able to put a time limit on it. So, is it a good goal if you say, I'd like to clean my bathroom counter sometime? No. You set the goal and say, I would like my bathroom counter cleaned off by 6 p.m. tomorrow. That is a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-sensitive goal. And those are the ones we can tackle Accomplish, because remember, achievable is key in this. If you set goals that you cannot accomplish, you're setting yourself up for failure. And when I was speaking about this earlier, and I said it's like this dark cloud hanging over us, and it's because we have this large goal of cleaning everything, and somehow in our heads that equates to, I want to clean everything all at once. No, that's not going to work. Not unless you have boundless energy, a bulldozer, and a lot of time on your hands. It's better to break it down into little bite-sized pieces. What can I do? What can I accomplish in a day? Now, if I have a weekend, which I don't have because I'm making videos. So if I have a weekend, moving off into the fantasy land of people who have weekends, I can absolutely clean my bedroom closet. I can take every single thing I own out of there, wash the floors, wipe down the shelves, and put everything back in a reasonable order. I can probably do that in a few hours, never mind a whole weekend. But if I allot myself a weekend, I know I'm going to be able to get it done. And everyone has something like that in their house. Right now, my closet does not particularly need cleaning. One of my closet shelves does, but that's as far as it goes. We all have things like this. A closet that needs cleaning, the bathroom countertop that needs cleaning, the living room that, it's been a while, spring is coming, and you really need to take down the curtains and throw them in the wash. These are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-sensitive goals. Those are the good goals to make. And I think part of our problem is we look at the big picture. And looking at the big picture is good. Everyone knows that you should not get lost in the minutia. You should be able to keep the big picture in mind. Absolutely. But when it comes to goal setting, that's when we need to walk away from the big picture and take the little elements that are going to lead us to that point. Just take them out and look at them individually. So, you're thinking about decluttering. Well, you want to start with your kitchen cabinets? Good place to start. Go in, do what I did. Hopefully you will not find 9-year-old Jell-O in there. I'm still embarrassed by that. That is a goal. It's a small goal, but it will lead to the overall goal of creating a more manageable environment. Now, hopefully, if we take a look at this, at the SMART strategy, and try to apply it to whatever is going on in our lives, whatever we want to apply it to, we will be able to work it out. Now, I need to do a lot of decluttering. I pretty much always need to do decluttering because, as you know, oh, here, look up at my top of my bookcase. By the way, that's kind of a little messy. Audie's been walking up there. He gets up and he walks across the bookcase and walks back. I'm not sure why, but that seems to be this new thing he's taken up. I like my stuff, so eliminating stuff is always going to be difficult for me. I should probably clean out this bookcase here. Well, that's not going to happen. But I should probably do it. I know I should do it, and if I were going to do it, I would simply set the goal of cleaning out the bookcase, and I'd probably even get a little more specific and say, I am going to take 10% of the books. I'm sure you can see books are piled one on top of the other. I should probably take 10% of those books out and find new homes for them. But again, hi Audie, I love my stuff. In particular, I love my books. I can't read those books anymore. I can't. There is, now I was going to say there's nothing in that bookcase that is Braille, but yes, there are a couple of Braille books in the bookcase. Most of that is print, and I can't read them, but I love them, and I'm not getting rid of them because they mean something to me, and my books. So, by the way, I know you all have things like this. I was looking at, what was it? It was a YouTube video by some architect that was talking about things in your house that are taking up too much space. He had a British accent, so maybe there's a method to his madness, because as we discussed yesterday, British homes are considerably smaller than the homes in the rest of the English-speaking world. So maybe in Great Britain, things like, getting rid of items that some architect thinks are unnecessary, maybe that's a good idea. But the thing he targeted at one point was display cabinets. Everyone I know who has a display cabinet is using it to display something they love. And almost everyone I know has a display cabinet. My neighbor across the street is a single man. He has a display cabinet. He's a motocross racer, and he uses it to display his trophies. And getting rid of his display cabinet to him is getting rid of all of the trophies he's won. And those trophies are very meaningful to him. He gets tremendous pleasure out of that. But even like a single man, and we all know that if you want to find a house that doesn't have much in terms of design theme, go find the home of a single man. Even he has a display cabinet. And I would bet you serious money that he'd fight to keep it if you threatened it. So I think we need to look at this in a more, not just practical, but a more compassionate way. We shouldn't be feeling compelled to get rid of all of the things that give our lives meaning. I'm not getting rid of you, Audie. We need to keep the things we enjoy. And I enjoy a lot of stuff that would generally, they would be considered useless. The pictures on the wall, they serve no function except to make me feel good. There's a whole bunch of china up on top of that bookcase. They don't serve a purpose. They're not doing anything in particular. They're just decorative objects. And if you wanted to really downsize, it's a good place to start. But, not in my house, thank you very much, because I don't want to strip all the character out of my house. I do not want this to look like a hotel room, or worse, one of those minimalist environments, because that would make me crazy. Living in clutter and chaos makes me crazy, but living in sterility, it makes me profoundly emotionally uncomfortable. It makes me crazy in a very different way, like a low-grade anxiety if I am in an environment that is a little too characterless. I'm not sure why, to be honest with you. I've never really given it that much thought, but the truth of the matter is if you put me into an environment that has no personal touches, it just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel normal. It feels to me not even like I walked into a furniture showroom, because even in a furniture showroom, they will put a few trinkets on the coffee tables, a few lamps on the end tables, and a few paintings on the walls. And yeah, that kind of tells you what those sterile environments are like when they are less personalized than a furniture showroom. But that's how I look at it. That's not where I want my decluttering to go. Now, some of you may, in fact, want that minimalist space, and more power to you if you do. But I think most of us are not comfortable in that. As I said yesterday, the happy medium, somewhere in between maximal and minimal, in the middle, just somewhere that we can live with. My happy medium is a little more to the maximalist side. Someone else's happy medium might be a little more to the minimalist side, but it's a continuum, it's a spectrum, and we will each find our own little niche on that line, and that's where we want to be. That's where we are comfortable. So my advice, just to sum up, is when you set your goals, do it in little bite-sized chunks. Small goals. Goals like the bedroom closet, the dresser drawers, the bathroom countertop, the kitchen cabinets, or, and I'm going to throw this out too because that may seem a little too ambitious for some of us, in which case, scale it back. Instead of I'm going to clean out my entire bedroom dresser, clean out one drawer. Go back a day or two later, clean out another drawer. But set the goal that you know you can achieve. Because if you set a goal that's too ambitious, you are setting yourself up for failure. And don't do that. Just don't do that. There are enough governmental agencies, acts of God, misguided relatives and friends who will contribute to your failure one way or another. You don't need to do it yourself. Give yourself a break. And if you are looking at goal setting and you are in a set of circumstances that has changed, for example, you're getting older, your energy levels are lower, you've had an accident, you're not getting around the way you used to, whatever. If you do not believe you will be able to achieve the goal within your allotted time frame, change the goal. Or change the time frame, but be flexible with this. I can go in, like I said, I could go in and clean out my closet in very short order because it's one of the areas in my home that I keep pretty well organized to begin with. Same thing with my dresser drawers. I keep them pretty well organized to begin with. But you don't want to know what my bathroom countertop looks like. All right, I'm going to go get a picture of my bathroom countertop. This is what my bathroom countertop looks like. Yeah, that could take like a whole day to figure out what I'm going to do with all that stuff. And this is a very small bathroom. We all have our areas that will be problematic for us, our areas for which we will need to either give ourselves a smaller goal or a larger time frame in order to make this all work. And that's okay. It's not like someone is standing over you with a stopwatch and a bullwhip. You get to choose. And I think that is something, when you actually look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am setting my goals. No one is telling me what to do. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I choose to do. It's very empowering. And when you realize that you own the process and you actually take ownership of it, this is my goal. This is not a goal someone else has set for me. It makes it so much easier to come up with the energy, with the ambition to achieve that goal. So that is what I have for you today. We did get a couple of minutes of Audie lurking around in the background. By the way, the window over here that he was staring out also faces west, and it is late afternoon, so that's what he was looking for, some sunshine. And he's gone into the window in front, that western-facing window, where he can actually curl up on the table and sleep in the sunshine. So we did get some Audie time, and we are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. For those of you who join us for Just Chatting, it's 8 o'clock New York City time tonight. For everyone else, we are looking forward to seeing you again next weekend. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.